Good morning, everyone, from a balmy Nashville, Tennessee. I'm not going to be one of those people that just talk about the weather all the time, but what I will say is that it is hot today. So no better time to start our third installment, I think, of Hot Job Summer. I'm Scott Gordon, VP of Talent Solutions with Vaco, based out of Nashville, Tennessee. And today I've got Jessica Van Eck, our Director of HR Marketing and Sales and Recruiter out of our Memphis, Tennessee office. Jessica, good morning.
Morning. How are you?
So can you, it's good to see your face. Can you, would you please introduce yourself for everybody and tell everybody a little bit about how you got started in Memphis and what your role is there, and let everybody hear.
For sure. And the last name is Van Eyck. Sorry to correct you.
I do that all the time. I'm sorry.
I know you do, because it's become a joke.
I do. I do.
So I've been with Vaco now almost 10 years. I'll have my 10-year anniversary in January. I work in
by 10 years, I would figure it out that it's not Eck.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, we're not perfect. So I've been with Vaco almost 10 in staffing, and we do a little bit of everything. I like to say we work with people that make everywhere from $12.51 an hour all the way up to six figures and everything in between.
Gotcha.
So we focus on HR, marketing, sales, lower level accounting, you name it. I got on with Vaco, gosh, I don't even remember. I knew Justin Farmer, who is my coworker. Sure. Yeah. He and I worked together. I actually was a contractor for Vaco and developed a relationship over time, and was with Vaco, left Vaco temporarily, and came back, and the rest is history. I've been here 10 years, and
I will speak for all of us here at Vaco. We're very glad that you're here, and soon to be happy 10 years. So it's I know you've been extremely successful in that office, and so applause to you all around. So tell me, for people that may not be familiar with what is strategic staffing, because at Vaco we have technology and we have finance and we have healthcare and staff. We have all different sorts of things. What types of positions fall under the strategic staffing umbrella, and kind of start from beginning to end? So, and I know you do a lot of things. I know you do a lot of things, but for some of our people that are watching, they may not have any idea. They just think staffing is staffing, and maybe you do technology, maybe you do healthcare, maybe. So talk a little bit about that.
So I guess the best way to put it is anything that doesn't fall in anybody else's bucket falls into staffing. And what I mean by that is we work on everything from a person scanning documents into a system all the way up to a C-level, say chief people officer, CMO. Okay. Right now we're seeing a lot of HRIS positions, especially with Workday. That has been super popular right now. We're seeing a lot of executive assistants, admin assistants. I'm trying to think what else. A lot of digital marketing.
For people that aren't familiar with Workday, what is that?
Workday is an HR system. It's what a lot of companies utilize to keep up with their employees, all their HR data. It's also a database in which you can keep up with recruiting as well. Sure. So, yeah. Okay, good. Thanks.
So what do you got as far as Memphis is concerned? And I know the industries in Memphis are healthcare and logistics and shipping and all of, and Elvis Presley, if he's an industry in Memphis. Can you tell me what are you seeing, more remote roles or more hybrid roles, or are your clients requesting that candidates actually be on site 100% of the time? What are you seeing?
Well, I'm not sure if you've looked into the news lately, but Shelby County, which is where Memphis is housed, is got a hotbed of COVID cases right now. Okay. You know, they're finding this new Delta variant is affecting people. Sure. You're seeing more and more cases. So I think a lot of people were trying to get people back in the office, but now with this upswing with these cases, we're seeing a lot more hybrid models, like 2 days, 3 days at home versus being in the office. So I think coming out of COVID, it's become kind of a benefit of sorts. And I think in order for companies to be competitive, they've got to offer some sort of flexibility with the remote option. It doesn't have to be 100%, but I feel like if they don't offer it, they're going to lose out on key talent just for the sake of other companies. A lot of companies are offering the remote hybrid option.
Got it. Now, are you working with both clients and candidates? Are you recruiting and working with clients?
Indeed. I work at what we call a full desk.
Okay.
So I have clients and I have candidates.
So talk to me a little bit about the difficulties of, I think that there's an education that comes along with what it is that you do. So how are you educating your clients on what candidates want? And how are you then taking that information and educating the candidates on what clients are expecting? Because I think that you've got your finger on the pulse of what's going on between both sides. And sometimes both sides don't see the other. They just say, you know, I want this, and I don't know what's going on, but this is how I want it.
Well, I think we could start off with the candidates. I think setting the candidate's expectation first and foremost. I think a lot of people utilize recruiters thinking it's their job to find you a job, which in reality, that's what we are here to do. But at the end of the day, we are working for our clients. And if you don't have the skill sets that align with what we currently have, unfortunately, at that time, you know, we can't just pull a job out of midair that's going to allow you to be placed. So it's developing that rapport and that relationship. So if it doesn't work out, then you've got them in your pipeline. So later on down the road, you may be able to utilize them. So just kind of setting their expectation level of, yes, we have a lot of jobs, but after speaking with you, I will know better if your background is a good fit for the role. Now with clients, I think the expectation on salary, that's a big one. You know, a lot of these clients want a lot for a little. And once you start producing the talent that is dictated by the salary range that you're given, and it's not quite hitting the mark, it's allowing them to see what a rock star candidate looks like and saying, look, this is what you could get if you spent $5K more. And that's just kind of educating them and allowing them to see, you know, what's out there for just a little bit more, that you can get so much more for maybe 5,000. So.
Gotcha. Can you give me, and I know this will just pertain to your market, can you give me kind of the wildest requirement that you've been given by a client that you have? Let's do both. Let's do both client and candidate. So the wildest requirement that you've been given by a client that you try not to laugh at, and then the wildest candidate request that you've tried not to, or that you've tried not to laugh at, because I know we hear some wild things. So I'm interested in what you're hearing.
I mean, you know, I've been doing this for 10 years, so we can sit here and play story time for a long time.
Of course, of course.
I would say the wildest,
something that's relevant, you know, to the pandemic and everything that's going on. So if there's anything that's happened there, because sometimes, I mean, you and I can be honest with each other, and I can be honest with the audience. I mean, there are, if you've been in a job for 5 years and you decide to step out, you don't know what the market's doing. You don't know what it's like, or you may not have all of the information. The same thing goes for a client. If the client is moving product from A to B, their job is to move product. It's not to hire. So we get to see. So I know that some of those requests can be just absolutely wild. So I'd love to hear if you've heard anything like that, because I think we all do on a daily basis, and it's fun to hear.
Right. So as far as candidates are concerned, I think one of the things that, like, this just happened recently. I had a great candidate getting her MBA. She's got a great internship under her belt, and she's making like $12 in her internship.
Sure.
And I asked her what her salary expectations are. And she's like, well, since I'm going to have my master's degree, I'm looking for $50,000. And I just, you know, I had to act like I wasn't shocked. Of course, it was a phone call, so she couldn't read my face, thank God.
Sure.
But, you know, I think I don't know if it's career coaching within the universities or a marketing ploy on their part, but yes, 50,000 is attainable. But I would say, if you've got some great internships under your belt, you know, education is wonderful. It's never going to let you down. But at the same time, experience by far beats any piece of paper, in my opinion. So just kind of setting and leveling with them in regard to salary expectations and being realistic. I mean, I could have just said, okay, you want 50K, and never helped her, because realistically, that 50K number may or may not, it's more than likely not going to happen. So I said, what about this job I've got? It's 43,000. She said, yes, she's interviewing this week. So it's an entry-level HR job. It's going to get her, it's going to jumpstart her career. She may be making within a year. So just, I guess, expectations on salary kind of are like, it's not really wild, but it's just one of those things where people are kind of, they just have to be coached on what the market is bearing.
Right.
As far as clients are concerned, funny ask. Well, this is kind of funny to me. I did have a client want me to be a matchmaker for him because he thought that I was such a great recruiter. But I was successful for about 1.5 years, and then they broke up. But most recently, I had a client. She's a good friend of mine, and people come to me because I'm one of these types. They call it, you know, pull your magic wand out, Jessica. But I mean, I have certain clients that I deliver no matter what I'm asked on, and I seem to do it every time. So I kind of put myself in the position to keep succeeding. And she needed somebody to scan documents. She works at a bank. They were getting acquired. They needed all their documents scanned and put into her system. She's like, can you have somebody tomorrow? And I only need them through October the 8th. And the pay was decent, but it's just finding somebody in this market for a finite amount of time.
Right.
But I found her. She started yesterday and they love her. But it's just expectations and coaching and letting people and setting their realistically what the market looks like, what it's bearing, and just being honest and having those transparent conversations.
Yeah, I think it's right. I think, and I had just to share a quick story. I had a candidate that I had interviewed one time, and we started talking about rate, and he said, my hourly rate is $300 an hour. And I said, so you're making $600,000+ a year? And he said, no. And he said, I only make about $70,000 a year. And I went, oh. And I said, how many hours a week are you working? And he said, oh, a couple. So, and I went, oh, okay. So it's setting.
It's all relevant. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all relevant. So when you're talking to candidates right now, and I love having you here, and I love the fact that you do both sides, because I think the other times that I've spoken to people on here, it's been just recruiters, but I love the fact that you do both sides. What's more important right now? Is it the salary? Is it the remote or hybrid option? Or is it the company culture, or what the company does? You know, what's their business? What's it like in Memphis? What's the most important thing?
I think, and I'll go back to this every time, it's the flexibility. I think a lot of people have gotten adjusted through COVID, being able to, you know, take care of their families, do a load of laundry, do this. So it's just allowing, you know, candidates to have that flexibility with a hybrid model. Right. It's also, I mean, and that's part of your culture as well. You know, I think companies right now, in order to be attractive, it's the benefits you offer. You know, I've got a company that offers fertility benefits. I've got a company that offers adoption benefits. So it's just kind of segregating yourself out from the rest of the crowd by different things, and making, you know, you shine in a different light by the things that you can provide for your people, and showing that you really care.
Are you, so the remote options and sort of those how to work well within the pandemic, are those outweighing money?
I would say yes. And I'm also seeing a big shift in people completely changing their careers. I think people, and those are tough, but they're not impossible. Those are fun to me. It's like a big challenge. But I just think people have had a lot of time to kind of sit and reflect. And we're all kind of realizing what we like about what we do. You know, work is so much more of our time than spending time with our family and friends. I mean, you spend more time behind the desk. Agreed. And so I think with that self-reflection kind of comes a reevaluation of your career, of what you really want to do. And I think it's given people encouragement and confidence to kind of step out on the ledge. It's kind of like, well, we don't know what the rest of the future looks like. I mean, who would have, you know, predicted what we just went through?
Exactly.
And so that's been an interesting shift there. You know, I do my best. I am very realistic. You know, it is a lot harder to take somebody from a set career and move them over. You know, of course, education, getting another degree in a different specialized field helps. But again, it's just being open with candidates and clients and expectations. And, you know, I do the best I can.
Sure. And you do a great job. Thank you. So the two questions. Say you posted a job. So it's really, what are the hot jobs? And I know you talked about this briefly, the hot jobs that are in Memphis. For each opportunity, say that you were to post on sites like Career Builder, Indeed, or LinkedIn or anything like that, how many applicants are you receiving per job?
So I listened to your last and I was thinking about this. So I'm kind of a unicorn of sorts. I know that's shocking. I work off probably almost 100% referrals. I post on social media. I don't really post on job boards.
Sure.
So I would say for every job I post at this point in time, I mean, it would be a lot more if I posted on the job boards, but like as far as personal referrals, I'm probably getting 20 to 25 per job.
So I think that there are two things that I want to highlight there. Your referral network is, you know, it's 100 miles long and 100 miles deep, and that's pretty spectacular. I think that for a newer recruiter, that may not always be possible, so they do have to use those. And just like I did when I started using job boards and things like that. But the fact that you can gain that many, so the relationship that people have with you goes a long way. And I know that the candidates that have worked with you for years. So if you're listening to this and you are a candidate, establishing a relationship with a recruiter and maintaining that relationship, it goes both ways, can be extremely beneficial.
And I will say, to add to that, Scott, I always tell my candidates, you know, I'm going to do my best to get you a job. But at the end of the day, you got to realize I talk to, at minimum, I interview 3 people a day at minimum. And then not to mention all the other fires and people I talk to throughout the day. And so there is virtually no way, unless I was an idiot savant, to be able to keep up with all of these. Because over time, I mean, you're thinking in a week, I'm talking to 15 people. In a month, I'm talking to 60 people. And so I always just tell them, look, it's as much your responsibility as my responsibility to keep up with me. You know, I post all my jobs on LinkedIn. I post all my jobs on Facebook. Connect with me wherever you're comfortable. You know, some people don't want to mix personal with business. But if you see a job I have posted, reach out to me and I'll pick up the phone and I'll tell you the details. Just because I'm not contacting you doesn't mean you're not a fit. It's just physically impossible to mentally compartmentalize thousands upon thousands of thousands of candidates. So, yeah.
So you've got 25. Thank you for that. You're exactly right. So you've got 25 applicants per job. What is something that, and I'm an applicant for one of your positions, and my resume looks good, my salary's okay, my hourly rates is okay, my experience is okay. Is there anything I can do to stand out, to bubble to the top of all of this? Because I mean, 25 for one job is a lot. So, and that's just you. So there may be, I mean, there are other people in any other office that may have 50 or 60. I was in California last week and they get flooded with candidates, and it's just like you. So the question is, I'm a candidate. How do I get noticed?
Well, I know this is going to sound silly, but resumes, I mean, they're not an exact science. I tell everybody, I'm going to tell you what I like to see and what's worked for me, but you go to a competitor and they're going to tell you something different.
Well, so our competitor, they're not on this call. You are, so I want this.
I just like to like intro that, like, because I mean, just because I say this is how it should be, it's not like an exact science.
You know what? You're a proven entity. You're extremely successful, and that's why I wanted to talk to you today. So
I mean, let's just start with the basics: phone number, email. You would be shocked how many resumes I get with 0 contact information on it.
Right.
And so very simple, and a good email address. I mean, a normal email address. I don't want sassygirl69@Yahoo. You know what I mean? Just keep it real, keep it simple.
Right.
And then in regard to a resume, I know the last girl in which you interviewed for IT, she mentioned she liked the objective. I could care less about that because it's typically fluff. Right. In our world, we're more concerned with, do you have an education? And I love to put that at the top, because personally, as a hiring manager, if I need a degree and I got to go all the way to the bottom of a resume to realize somebody doesn't have a degree. I just like to put it out there at the top in the open. And then the formatting, I like all the dates to the right, just so it's easy on the eye.
Right.
I think a lot of people get they have a misperception about resumes and they have to all fit on one page. I sometimes get like types, you know, as I get older, you know, I can't see as well, but it's like you get type font that's like maybe 8 because they're trying to squish everything in. Right. Yeah. The reality of it is, if it's good content, it can be 2 pages. You know, it's not, don't base what you put on there due to trying to fit it all on one page. I think a lot of people do a disservice too of not, like, especially newer grads, not putting on jobs they had in college, like waiting tables. That just, I mean, waiting tables, working at camps. I just had a girl who left off. She worked at Walt Disney World. She was a character actor. If anybody knows anything about Walt Disney World, their training is the utmost top notch in customer service. Sure. So it's just knowing, you know, working with candidates and telling, you know, I tell people, put everything on there and let me dictate what you need, what goes and what stays. And
I think I love that. I think that to your point, I don't think that there's a perfect resume for everybody. And some people they try to put their entire career on one page or even 2 pages. And a good recruiter like you, Jessica, will say, okay, let's gear your resume towards the particular job for which you are applying, instead of trying to take this one wide swath of experience and stick it on there. I've done it. And I know you've done it, to say, look, you know, your experience at ABC job, expand on that a little bit more, because this is exactly what the client is looking for. But I do. Yeah, I think that's really, really important. So thank you for bringing that up.
Well, to add on to this, so I'm a big, at work, they kind of call me a grammar Nazi. I'm a product of an English teacher. And like you said, I can correct your grammatical errors. I don't get bent out of shape, but I had an instance yesterday. I always include the LinkedIn profile so so clients can check them out. It is imperative that your dates match, that your titles match. I mean, that's a red flag first and foremost. If you go to LinkedIn and something's on there that's not on your resume, or the dates don't jive up, you know, I know candidates get frustrated with me sometimes, but I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but dates are dates. That's a finite time period. You can't change that. So anyways, all that to be said, you know, it's just, and having a professional photo on LinkedIn, that is so key. It's just, you know, again, setting expectations and telling people, you know, sometimes it's a hard conversation. You know, I'm sorry that you're in your car. I can tell you have your seatbelt on, but can you please just have your husband or wife take a photo of you with a nice background in a business attire? So I think a good LinkedIn is key, along with the resume. But
good. So what is in Memphis right now, and the region that you're working in, aside from the top skill sets, are there anything that your clients are looking for in particular from because I think that the job market changes. I know that skill sets change, but personalities and styles and cultures and all of that sort of change with the wind, it seems. So is there anything outside of a particular skill set that your clients are looking for that you typically don't find on a resume?
I mean, nothing that comes to mind. I'm another hot market right now, I feel like, is digital marketing, especially the e-commerce field, because I think a lot of people being at home, of course, you know, being stuck, a lot of shopping online. So I have a lot of companies who are ramping up their e-com teams. So that would be something that seems like it's kind of a hot button right now. But as far as something like they're looking for, I mean, my clients, they want hard workers. They want people that are going to show up, get the job done, and, you know, can be their best. But I don't know of anything specific that I can think of right now that people are looking for that they haven't always looked for.
Right. I was just thinking, like, and I'm coming out of technology, so I've got some clients that are looking for people with it, like, that are gamers, that enjoy gaming because their company has some sort of attraction to that or something. It's just something like that. That's all. Jessica, thank you so much for coming on here today. I want to. It's been an absolute joy talking to you. If someone wants to get in touch with you, where would they send their resume?
So you would send it. So my name's at the bottom of the screen, so that makes it easy. It's J, my last name, Van Eyck, VANEYCK at Vaco, V as in Victor, ACO.com. And then my cell is 901-240-7381. You can find me on LinkedIn. All my information's out there. I'm an open book. So
brave. Yeah, brave person to throw your phone number out there, but be prepared to be blown up. A few final announcements before we go. One pretty exciting announcement is Vaco is hiring. We are hiring internally for people like me and for people like Jessica and Alyssa that I spoke to last week, and we are hiring all over the country, actually all over North America. So if you're interested, please submit your resume. We'll drop some links in below of where you can do that in the chat. And don't forget to sign up for Vaco's Hot Job Summer webinar, the next webinar, which will be coming up, and we'll drop a link into there. So a lot of stuff coming, but thanks everybody for waking up, wiping the sleep out of your eyes, and watching me and Jessica talk this morning. So I appreciate it, and I will see you all soon. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you listening.
Bye-bye.